Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 4J's show here at UticaTV. I'm your host, James Brown, and today we got a lot of topics to discuss. But before we get there, let's go around the table and start introducing ourselves with my good friend to my right.
What's going on? I'm Jeremy Horowitz, the only one who didn't get the memo to wear a blue polo this week. I apologize to everyone watching. I apologize to my fellow crewmates on set. I look like an idiot.
Jack Rathburn, again, excited to be here. A lot of stuff to talk about. Obviously, it's a big week for me. I'm officially in first place in terms of the picks, so I don't ever want to hear someone say I've got a bad pick or I'm not right, because especially you to my right, James Brown, definitely don't want to hear it from you. So I'm in first place. Excited for this week, though.
Justin Otar here. Second place, tied with the highlighter to my right over here.
Yeah.
We'll be in first place when all is said and done, and excited to be back after a little break last week, and I'm excited to talk some Utica sports.
Yeah, got a lot to talk about. I got to redeem myself for my picks. As you guys can see, second, first place, I am sitting last. So I'm going to redeem myself, though, for sure. And tune in tonight. We got a big episode of Game Day, Utica TV with the 4J's. We'll be on site for the men's basketball Empire 8 Tournament semifinals as the Pioneers host the Nazareth Golden Flyers. Real excited for this one.
Oh, yeah, definitely. This is going to be a fantastic game. We couldn't have asked for a better script, a better draw in the Empire 8 tournament as a fan. I mean, obviously, Utica didn't want to see Nazareth. Nazareth is a real good ball squad, but this game is going to be an interesting one, and I can't wait.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun one against the game against Houghton. Utica played really well, had 5 players over 10 points, which is obviously, if you're able to get that many guys going, you're up for a pretty good game offensively, but it's going to be a fun one coming up this evening.
Yeah, I mean, that game on Saturday was awesome. Doing the first ever episode of the Utica playoff game day was something that I don't think we'll ever forget, and it's only going to get better from here on out. Again, going to run it back tonight. But really looking forward to the second round of the Empire 8 Conference Tournament. And we got a good one between the Pioneers and Nazareth. Jack, and we'll get into that later. We called that game against Nazareth a couple weeks ago. But I think it's a great game we got on slate tonight, and I'm excited to be there pregame.
Well, men's basketball, as we just said, got a huge win over Houghton in the first round of the Empire 8 Tournament. For those that missed, let's take a closer look at some of the highlights from Saturday's contest, as we're going to pull those up right now for you. And here we go. Like we said, 80-68 win. Let's see how it happened. Pull up 3.
Off the bat.
That looks like you, Jeremy.
Back in the CIO Church League days, yeah.
You have a player comp, Jeremy? Like
A player comp, a good one?
Yeah.
Jason Williams.
Jason.
Yeah.
White chocolate?
Mm-hmm, that's
Mine's
what we call
Dame.
that
I mean, look at that. Dame. It's like me.
You sound like Kevin Beach.
I mean,
Here we go. Let's call again. Triple. Oh, he
you missed
missed.
that one. That's a rare. You never seen
This was Isaiah Smith. He went off this game. 14 points off the bench from him.
I think
He
his
fights
mother.
hard.
I think his mother was sitting in front of me in Notar. Like every time.
Yeah.
he
that
touched
was
the ball-
Kane. That was Kane's.
Oh, it was Kane's mother.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
time Kane and Isaiah touched the ball, she was on her feet clapping, yelling. It was really cool to see.
Yeah, he's an Amsterdam guy like our boy
Is
Nick
he?
Phillips.
Local?
Yeah, him and Nick Phillips actually went to high school together.
I think Utica didn't play as well as the score shows. I think they had a lot more to them.
Yeah, they're a team that one player really shows up for them off the bench. This time it was Smith. It's like they always play team basketball, but they always got like one guy on the bench. Like versus Utica, it was McCardle. A couple weeks ago, we had Flynn having a big game. It's like I wouldn't be surprised if Iggy comes off the bench as a big game today. Everybody shows up for them.
Kane and Smith have both been the 2 freshmen that I talk about a lot, especially when I'm calling those games. Like, the 2 freshmen, I'm excited to watch them develop because they're able to come off the bench and do big things.
Absolutely, and this is them.
I hate this right here.
Yeah,
5 seconds left, dude. Come on, like
Yeah, I
you're
saw
down
that too.
12. Get back on the bus and go home. That bothered me. That really
I'm
bothered
with
me.
you. I'm with you. I thought the same thing.
Bro wanted to steal for stat sheets.
Yeah, it's like, come on, dude.
Ladies gonna love that
The
one.
backup guy, yeah, I don't know.
Making our
about that.
stats look bad too. It's just not right. Take the loss, get back to the boss, shake your hand, and call it a season.
Like we said, a lot of highlights to talk about, but a lot of interesting things to talk about too. Pioneers only shot 75% from the free throw line. Deion Thompson was 9 for 9, so that was a big part of that. As a team, they didn't shoot great from the charity stripe. And only shot 31% from 3, so those are 2 things to think about coming into tonight.
The 3-point shooting has definitely been one of the thing that they've talked about, I think, going into the season, obviously Hagen Foley was kind of the big name. He started off the season pretty hot, but then that's kind of slowed down, I think, a little bit. But Damian Call's been the guy that's really stepped up, leading scorer with 15 points and then 10 rebounds as well. So he's a guy that's kind of Coach Sean Cobb is able to lean on to kind of do it all and lead the team to a win.
Yeah, absolutely. Graduate student. He's been here before. And, yeah, we'll see tonight. It's going to be a great game. Jalen Savage had 30 points in that win over Russell Sage in the first round. They were down 10 at halftime, came back and won. It was crazy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were down 17 at some point in that second half too. This is both teams in this game can come back. They've shown they can come back from big leads in the second half. Well, you guys saw it when you guys were on the call. Utica did it against Naz in Mika Court. So that's going to be interesting to watch. But something I want to watch out for too, and we'll talk about this later in the pregame show, is Dayon Thompson, just 2 for 9 in the in the win against Houghton. So we want to see, obviously, him get going because he was their leading scorer earlier when they had played Houghton. And obviously, in my opinion, their best player, I think he needs to get going early tonight. And I don't think you can drop back 20 points in the first half because that was a miracle comeback. I don't see them doing that again.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with pretty much everything you said, not to glaze you too much, Justin. But, yeah, I mean, Dayon, we were actually watching the game on Saturday together, sitting next to each other. We weren't calling the game, but I remember with like 10 minutes to go in the first half, I go, yo, where's Dayon? Like, why is he not in the game? He told me he was in foul trouble. But yeah, when your best player goes 2 for 9, again, dropped 14 points, 9 of those being from a charity stripe. But they can't afford to have Dayon get in the foul trouble early and only make 2 of his 9 field goals. He's going to have to carry the load offensively. Obviously, when one guy on your team isn't picking up the slack, you have guys like Damian Call to put him on his back. But it's going to be tough, especially the second round against a really good Nazareth team. We saw them again last time out. They were at Mika Court. Went up big at halftime, I believe 20 points. Utica was down 26 early on in that second half. They were able to claw their way back. But again, Dayon went at the halftime only having 2 points in that game. So you're going to have to hope Dan come out and find his rhythm early. And if he can do that, I think that kind of propels the Pioneers. And they go with him. So if Dayon can get going early, I think it really helps them kind of settle into the game tonight and hopefully move on in the conference tournament with a win tonight.
Yeah, Jalen Savage, I think we have to talk about a lot. He's one of the best scorers in the country. I think he's like top 50 in points per game in the entire country.
Crazy.
He's pretty comfortably leading Empire 8. So I mean, he's got to be the guy that you're most worried about locking down and preventing him from scoring because he's definitely capable of doing it.
Yeah, you go.
Oh, no, you go ahead. I was just going to try. I don't want to spoil too much for these folks listening tonight, but go ahead.
I was just going to say, I like how you brought up Damian Cole because he has 26. They played 26 games. Only 5 of those games has Damian Cole not been in double digits. And I think he has 8 in a row now with double digits. So he's stepped up to be a big-time scorer. And this is his last season. He's in a grad year, right? So, yeah, he wants to obviously go out with a championship and tough 2 games ahead of him to do so. But he's definitely stepped up and played to the game.
I think that's apparent. I think it's apparent that like this is his last season. It's kind of like his last hurrah almost. Because like even in those closing regular season games, like his stats jumped. He was dropping like doubles pretty consistently in the last like 5 or 6 games of the regular season.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Make sure to tune in tonight. UticaTV Gameday, starting at 6, live at 6 here on YouTube. Make sure to tune in for that. But moving on now, men's hockey secured the #1 seed in the UCHC tournament after they picked up 2 crucial wins over Manhattanville and Geneseo. Fell to Nazareth. Got a lot of help from the Golden Flyers there. Guys, how do we see this tournament panning out?
Well, I want to give a little shout out to our guy, our producer Nicola. That is one of the coolest graphics I think I've ever seen. I don't know if you caught it, but on the bottom it said again, UCHC runs the Utica again, which is something we've kind of been used to here going to school at Utica. I mean, we talked about it for the past few weeks on the show. I mean, if there's a team that could do it, I think it's the Pioneers. Geneseo with a really uncharacteristic loss to Nazareth after putting up, 7 goals on them the night before, whatever the number was.
9-1.
9, yeah. Winning by 8 goals, scoring 9, and losing the next night. Maybe that's a moment where that kind of completely shakes up their season, especially late going into the conference tournament. That could be a loss where it looms really heavy on them, what just happened? That doesn't happen to teams like us, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that completely throws them off mentally and they can't pick up where they left off. And the Pioneers, they're hot at the right time. They've lost 1 game since coming back from winter break. If you want to say they lost 2 because of the shootout game against Chatham, whatever. I know the record says it's a loss, but I'm still not happy about it. But they really only lost 1 game in regulation since coming back from winter break. And this team is the hottest in the conference, the hottest it's been all season long. With the new acquisitions of guys like Ryan Piros and obviously returners like Brian Scoville, I mean, there's a recipe for success. Gary Heenan does a fantastic job with his players, and if there's a team led by a coach like Gary Heenan, I think you could take him as far as you possibly can.
I think I'm not as confident. I think there's definitely a chance that Utica's a very good hockey program. Me and Ray were calling the game against Manhattanville, the most recent one at the Adirondack Bank Center, and they looked good in the third period, but the first 2 periods were rough. Like, it was not like the Utica hockey
Playing
team.
with their foot a little bit, right?
It was really not what you're used to watching if you're watching Pioneer hockey. There were a couple of guys that definitely stood out. Colby Jaquette was one of the guys that we were talking about. Me and Ray were excited to see. The guy's only played in 1 game, but he had a couple of really good shots on goal, a nice pick-off in the neutral zone, and a 1-on-1 opportunity against the Tender. It was really, really nice, but it wasn't until the third period that you really saw like the Utica Pioneers you're used to watching play hockey. But I think it's going to come down to coaching. If Gary Heenan's able to get those guys in that zone to be the dominant team that they are, it's going to have to happen early because it's going to be a much better opponent. It's not to say Manhattanville is not a good opponent, but again, if you're going deeper into the tournament, it's got to kind of happen sooner, I think.
Yeah, and maybe that Chatham team we saw them lose to a couple weeks ago. I mean, that's a really scrappy team. We've talked about them. Remember, I was calling that game with Ray when it was Utica versus Chatham at the Adirondack Bank Center. He was telling me that guy Ray knows everything about everything.
It's insane.
He somehow knew the Chatham head coach somehow, some way, and the way that guy runs a hockey program is very hard-nosed. He's not a guy who's going to let his players let up and play light. So if they run into Chatham in the second round, because the Pioneers are the ones who they get a bye, if they run into Chatham in that second round, that is going to be a must-watch game, must-see game. And I mean, if you're around in the Utica area, buy a ticket, find a way to sneak into the odd, go watch that game.
Well, yeah, Naz and Chatham play each other. That's going to be a great game. Naz coming off that win versus Geneseo. I mean, you're somebody who's seen both these teams play. What do you think happens in that one?
I mean, I'm high on this Chatham team. Again, I think they're really scrappy. Naz, they have talent. I mean, Nazareth is a really good athletic school. We see them in every sport really compete towards the top of the ranks. But Chatham, I think they do the little things right. And I think in a conference tournament where, it's do or die, when you have players who will literally put their life on the line for a hockey game, I think that propels them and gives them an edge that these other teams really don't have. And if I was picking like a sleeper pick for the tournament, I'm picking Chatham.
I agree. I mean, I think obviously Naz is a pretty good opponent, but in terms of like the wins column, like that shootout win against Chatham is really the only thing that Chatham or Naz has over the Pioneers. So I totally understand where you're coming from. I think I agree with you, Jeremy.
Thanks.
Yeah. Also, I like what you brought up about the Geneseo loss. To me, the word to describe that is demoralizing.
Yeah.
And I hate to get off topic, but like it kind of reminds me of like the Lions-Vikings game in that last week where the Vikings got destroyed.
No, I get what you're saying. I was going to bring up the Lions too. I was talking about Chatham. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. and then they lose the next week in the playoffs. I mean, it's hard to bounce back from a loss like that, where you needed to win so badly to get that number 1 overall seed in the conference, and they failed, and they gave up 7 goals in that game. They kind of got dominated. It was 7-4 game, so definitely something to look out for. How are they going to bounce back as well? But I also see Utica going very deep in this tournament.
It's weird too, like being. I'm not on Geneseo, but if I was like sitting in the locker room, like we beat Utica 2 out of 3 times, like how are we not ahead of them in the standings? I feel like it's a lot. It's a big toll on that team's mentality. Like not on the ice, but things off the ice. Maybe it's a little off, and maybe having things not go their way completely throws off the way their playoff run goes. Again, it's a really talented team. We see it all year long. They came into the odd and completely ruined the teddy bear toss. My one and only play-by-play call on a teddy bear toss game, they completely just ruined it. So thank you, Geneseo, for that. Yeah, I mean, this is a really good hockey team. It's going to be interesting to see how they deal with adversity.
Yeah, I really don't see this being any other way than Utica Geneseo again, which is we're in for a treat with that one. I'm looking forward to that. I mean, you look at the standings, Utica 51 points, Geneseo 48, then next 25 for Manhattanville. It's just like night and day with these teams.
It's night and like 3 days later.
Yeah, really. It's like night
That's good.
and then like you said, a week later. Yeah, it's crazy. But hopefully it is Utica Geneseo. I think that would be awesome. Especially, it's just unfortunate that game during spring break. We talked about that before.
It's my birthday too.
That's your birthday?
I'll have to watch it in Florida.
Oh
I'll
my
watch it.
goodness.
Thanks, bro. You'll be with me, so.
All right, bet.
All right, well, we also had another hockey team dominate, that being the Utica women's team dominated Chatham in their regular season finale, beating the Cougars 11-0 with 11 goals coming from all different Pioneers. Let's take a look at these goals right here. right. 18 goals led to a dominant weekend by the ladies. Let's talk more about the women's side now of the UCHC tournament. Naz sits at the number 1 seed, Utica 2, Manhattanville 3, and Chatham at number 4. Pioneers are going to play the Valiants on Saturday, and then Golden Flyers will play the Cougars. A lot to think about here. Utica and Manhattanville, let's talk about that game for a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting to see. It's only a 4-team conference, so, I mean, you kind of can draw up the conference tournament before the season even starts because everybody gets in. But it's determined, the first round is cool, but the second round is really where you get your popcorn ready. But this game for the Pioneers women's hockey team, it's big because they just lost the game to Manhattanville. They just dropped one. Now you got to play them again. I mean, they're 3-1 against them on the year, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I believe 3-1 against them.
Yeah.
See, I'm pretty good at what I do. I believe 3-1 on the year against the Valiants, but that one loss could loom large. I mean, we spoke to Riley Calhoun a little while ago, talking to her about how big this game is and how bad this team wants it. I mean, I think the Pioneers do beat Manhattanville, but I don't want them to go looking ahead on the schedule like, all right, we got to play Naz in the second round. No, you play Naz in the second round if you beat Manhattan. You know what I'm saying? It can't be a big look ahead spot here because obviously Nazareth women's hockey is cream of the crop in the women's side of the UCHC, and it's a team that Utica has kind of competed with the past few years for that top spot. But they can't look ahead this weekend against Manhattanville. It's a team they have to go in there and beat, go play their best brand of hockey, and then let the chips fall where they may. And say they do end up playing Naz, that is going to be an electric atmosphere. It's going to be at Nazareth, so Pioneers are going to be on the road. Tough environment to play against a really, really tough team. I don't know if I can really say who I think is going to win that game because it matters about special teams. If the Pioneers could stay out of the penalty box, I think they can beat Nazareth. The problem is sorry, I didn't cut you off, Jared, but the problem is they take so many stupid penalties at the worst possible time. And when you take dumb penalties, you lose hockey games.
I think it's going to be Utica. I'm not trying to preview the picks, but I mean, if I'm looking at the history right here, since the beginning of 2023, Manhattanville's won twice, and the first one was in a shootout, and the second one was in overtime. And that was the recent one that we were just talking about, the loss. And I think just based on those statistics, you can kind of see Manhattanville is kind of like just trying to keep up with the Pioneers in terms of the way they're playing the game. And I think especially now in like a postseason tournament, there's going to be a difference in like kind of the mentality that you're going into if you're the Pioneers. So I think that's going to play a big part. I don't think there's going to be any messing arounds from the Pioneers side.
There shouldn't be because I mean, again, it's a playoff game, must win. It's one game, win or go home. You got it's David versus Goliath. In this case, the Pioneers are Goliath. You got to go there and you stomp on David. You squash him, end him, and go move on to the next round. That's all. That's what it comes down to.
Well, Jeremy, you said something. You said that they're going to travel to Nazareth. Who knows? This game might be played in Utica. You never know if the Cougars can pull off an upset.
Oh, TP.
You don't think so?
Well, a big thing too. You mentioned how they dropped them to Naz. They were only behind Naz by one game, so there could be a different result now where the seedings are if they win that game. So they probably have overlooked Manhattanville prior. I think like you guys have both said, it just has to be the take care of business mentality, and you can't look forward to Naz as you said because you might not be playing Naz. You've shown that you can lose to Manhattanville and it very well can happen again. But on the other hand, you have beaten them 7-0. So, I mean, this game can go either way. But I do think Utica, obviously I don't want to, preview the picks as well, but I do think Utica should go in there and take care of business.
We'll have to keep an eye on that. We had even more excitement over the weekend as Jasmine Molina became the first women's wrestler in Utica history to qualify for nationals as she placed second in regionals. X Factor performance for her. Like we said, placed second in regionals in their past meet this past weekend, became the first ever qualifier in program history. Awesome accolade from her.
Something we talked about kind of with gymnastics as well. I mean, like these kind of newer programs, it's kind of hard to like start to get footing and like kind of get momentum going in terms of like the names you're establishing and getting momentum. But I think it's really impressive that things are happening this early in such a program. Like I said, gymnastics, wrestling, another one's kind of a newer one. But I think it's really, really kind of incredible to kind of look forward to the future with hard performances like this.
Yeah, and she went 2-1 in regionals, which is a big stage from her at the 125-pound weight class, defeating her first opponent by fall, which is by pin in under a minute. So she's a great athlete, really great asset for the Pioneers to have on this team, and like you said, a stepping stone to hopefully bring in more recruiting and hopefully turn this program into a real powerhouse.
Definitely.
And then also Pioneer Athlete of the Week for her alongside Johnny Malaire. We talked about men's hockey, but yeah, Melina, great performance.
Yeah, like also Jack brought up newer program, and you can't get these kind of recruits right away when you're a newer program. So for someone to go nationals, what is this, their second year?
Yes.
So that's a huge jump for them. I like how Jack also brought up, we mentioned this with gymnastics as well, just a big step for not only her, but the whole program in general.
Anything, Jeremy?
Nothing over there?
I
got
didn't
WWE
know
Elimination
it
Chamber.
was my turn to talk. Yeah, no, I think it's really cool. Big congratulations to Jasmine. I think that's a really sick honor. I mean, you go to nationals and you're representing a really small school in the grand scheme of things. We're a smaller campus, and most of our campus is athletes. When you come here for a sport, especially a sport that's newer to the campus, and you're like the first person to go represent the school, I think that's a fantastic honor. And big congratulations and shout out to her.
Well, sticking with individual sports, track and field competed in the Fast Tracks Invitational this weekend, and we had another X Factor performance in the meet. Let's take a look at it. So it's Ellis Urgent, the freshman two-sport athlete, 210 long jump, second in program history as a freshman. Huge performance from him and all the other athletes that competed this weekend.
Yeah, remember I called a soccer game earlier in the year. He was also on the soccer team, and I think I was calling the game with Doug, and at halftime I said, Doug, that guy Urgent, he's fast. It was probably something a little more than that, but that kid, he flies, and seeing the type of athlete he was on the soccer pitch, I obviously think that would translate pretty well to the long jump in track and field. He's a sick athlete, and it's cool that he can be one of the best players on the soccer team and also set records for the track team as well.
Something about those soccer guys. We had Evan Smith, sophomore this year, was a freshman, also on the soccer team. He was running like close to 50-second 400s, which for those of you guys that don't know track, that's insane. I think we've got him running 800s now, but again, there's something about those soccer guys. I think they must have endurance or something. They're
like
fast.
Brady and Nico, they're pretty cool too.
Yeah, Brady and Nico. Brady could probably be running a sub 50 400 or something like that. But I mean, the thing about Ellis is he is bouncy, like long jump. You got to have like some special kind of muscles in your legs to be as bouncy. Like 7 meters is insane. Like I think when I tried to do long jump a couple times, I was lucky if I broke like 5 meters.
Wow.
Like, low
Might get
5
3
meters.
for me.
You said
3?
3
I might be getting 3.
What's your over under set at? What's your line?
Like 2.5.
2.5?
Yeah, it's just
gonna
not
fall.
great.
I think we should honestly we should protest now. We get Nico Leonard on a pole vault. Don't you say?
I've been saying this. I think we should do a 4J's.
Who has been saying that?
Everyone.
I think we should.
The people have been asking for this.
He's retired.
Director version.
Our great Utica TV man right there,
need
Nico
a
Leonard.
4J.
Gotta get him on a
Utica
pole vault.
TV man, that's his job.
Utica TV man.
Utica TV man.
We need a 4J's
station manager.
combine.
Is that? I don't know his exact job title, but Nico Leonard.
Yeah, that's the title.
We need a 4J's
Utica
combine.
TV, man.
We should, yeah.
I'll come in last.
Utica TV
You come in,
man.
we do a race.
Anything
We all
with
do a race?
running or jumping.
Come on, we work
or
out with Nate. We should be
pole
okay.
vault.
There's a full NFL combine. We'll get like 40-yard dashes.
Yeah, we
long
should.
jump.
4J's combine.
That's
We
coming
should do
soon.
that.
That's coming soon.
I'll probably get lapped.
Okay, a mile run, a 40-yard dash,
Long jump.
pole vault.
I'll kill that one.
Yeah, you'll smoke us in the pole vault.
I'm good.
All right, moving on now. Both lacrosse teams will be opening their season this week, with the women facing Oswego State in their season opener later this afternoon. How do we see the ladies faring in this one and the season as a whole?
I have no idea. I don't know a whole lot about lacrosse. That's not really on my radar yet. I'm gonna get there though. I know I'm calling some lacrosse games, so I'll get more invested in lacrosse. But as of right now, I don't have a whole lot to say.
Well, their 14-4 record last year lost in the conference tournament championship versus St. John Fisher, who's a ranked team, lost 20-5 in that one. But they had the athletic director, Kristen Hayes-Hilaire, St. Hilaire, pardon me. She in her first season as the athletic director, so it'll be interesting to see how she translate from going from just a full-time coach to now the full-time coach and athletic director. But she's got a lot of help. They got Grace Stillman coming back. Team high 54 goals from her. So they got, and her sister as well, Maria Stillman, great player as well. So they got a lot of good pieces to work with. I think they should have some success today and the season as a whole.
Yeah, excuse me, but I think
the highlight will take a back seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wore a different color polo, so he'll
Yeah,
go
you're last
on this
now.
one. But I think they got to look out for or fans have to look out for Grace Stillman as a senior now, right? And I think also her little sister's on the team as well. I think that's a cool accomplishment just for both of them to be playing on the same team. And her little sister was Empire 8 all-rookie team, I'm pretty sure, and Grace Stillman, 112 goals, 40 assists in 45 games over her career. So, definitely a duo to look out for, as well as Bella Kolb. I interviewed her last year. She was also a two-sport athlete last year, and she's going to play a big part in her sophomore campaign as well.
Yeah, JB, you brought up a dropped his market. You brought up a good point. I think.
What are you looking for down there?
He dropped his market. I think it's gonna be interesting to see how athletic director / coach St. Hilaire handles her first season as coach and athletic director at the same time. But it's a program that has had success in the past and brought back a lot of their better players. And I mean, you 14-4 record last year. You brought up. I think they start off really strong today, get that first win under their belt, and just carry momentum on for the rest of the season, and hopefully they can knock off St. John Fisher and win a ring this year.
Well, now on the men's side of things, they're playing their season opener this Saturday versus SUNY Potsdam on the road. They're going to play a couple road games before they open up their season versus Vermont State Castleton. That's the name of the university, but they're going to open their season 6-10 record last year. They had a guy, Ryan Constantine, one of their best players. He was their player to watch in the Empire 8, 27 goals, 17 assists in his freshman campaign. So interesting to see how they'll do as well this season.
Yeah, I remember we tried to have an interview with Ryan, but unfortunately it didn't work out. We were going to interview him at the radio station. But yeah, a team that has definitely seen some better days. They lost grad assistant Zach Shaler in the offseason. He graduated, so unfortunately Coach Shaler won't be with the team this year. But I think you bring up players like Ryan. How do you say his last name again?
Constantine.
Ryan.
Mr. Constantine.
Yeah, you bring up guys like him. I think having young guys on the team like him helping lead the charge and hopefully allowing this team to prosper a little bit more than they did last year, and hoping they can just continue to compete in the Empire 8.
Yeah, I talked to dual sport athlete Michael Mecca. He's also a football guy too. He said that thinks they have a really good shot this season to compete. He's a guy that plays defensive midi for them. So I think he was telling me that they're a guy that got a lot of fight in them. He thinks that they've got a really good young group and they could really make some noise in the Empire 8. He said it really going to come down to how they play defensively. He thinks that their attack is really good. It's just their defensemen just aren't the best, he said. But, hopefully they can improve on that fashion as the season progresses. Excited to see them open their season this Saturday.
Yeah, as well as their goalie play too, Patrick Oswald. He's from Long Island, right where me and Jeremy are from. But he led the conference last year in save percentage, so he's also another player to watch out for this year. He ranked top 4 in every major goalie statistic in the Empire 8, so definitely a big presence in the return for Patrick Oswald as well.
Well, we've got other seasons opening too. The baseball team, they're going to start their season this week, heading into their 11-game road journey to start their season this Saturday down in Jersey.
We're on the road for 11 games.
11 games.
Oh my goodness.
Justin and Jeremy, you're both members of the baseball team. Give us some insight on what the team is looking like heading into the regular season.
It's definitely a different outlook than we had last year. Definitely a different team. We're a lot younger, and we're also a lot smaller. We lost a lot in the lineup. Guys like Jason Story, Don Fasolo, Joe Crosley, John Longretta. The list goes on and on. It doesn't stop there, but I don't want to bore everyone with what we lost. I want to talk about the positives of this team.
That's right.
It's a new outlook for this team. The offense, I think, is going to be a little different. I think that it's going to have a lot of small ball this year, and we're going to have to really rely on our pitching and defense. So that's where big sophomore Tar comes in this year and has a great softball campaign for us on the bump. But, we're going to have to do the little things right. That's what Coach Malazzo preaches to us every day at practice, doing the little things and taking care of, the things that really don't show up in the box score, in the stat sheet, or in the scorebook. Depends on, if you want to bring your own scorebook for the games, if you really want to be that hardcore with it or not. But I think really having a good foundation. We're a really tight-knit group this year. I feel like a lot of the guys are pretty close. And it's my last year, so I'm going to do everything I can, whether it's playing the games or grab someone water or grab them a package of fruit snacks if they're hungry. Whatever I got to do to help out the team this year, I'm really looking forward to doing it. And I think, maybe we're not the most talented team in the conference, but we have a lot of heart and we have a lot of fight. And I think that will help us go into a late season push and make some noise in the conference tournament.
Yeah, I agree too. I think last year as a freshman, I only pitched like 14, 15 innings. So obviously it didn't get my feet in the water too much, but we only had 7 games played at home in our 44 last year. So I feel like we're never playing home.
We only also have 9 home games scheduled this year, and I can guarantee you not all those 9 games are going to be played here.
Yeah.
Can you even see the field right now?
No, it's filled with
we were walking over here. Today's the first time I saw grass since January 12th.
Oh my goodness.
Today's February 26th.
How does it look in Jersey? Have they said anything?
I think it's
No,
turf,
we should be
so I don't
fine.
know.
Yeah, we should be fine for Jersey. But back to what Jeremy was saying, there's going to be a lot of bunting, and I like what he brought about the chemistry. I think this year we're playing together more as one. I think last year losing to St. John Fisher in the Empire 8 Championship kind of I wouldn't say broke us, but it gave us a sense of wow, we just can't get over the hump, and we're using that as motivation this year.
Yeah, I think the pitching staff is something to really look at. I think that's going to be the key to this team. You see a lot of teams that have success at higher levels, Division I and even the Major League level. It starts with the pitching, and they've got, Cooper Kanabe hopefully coming back after an injury. Hopefully he's have a better year this season. My guy, Westchester guy, Austin Rose, too. Great guy right there. Obviously, good friend of yours, but I think the staff is really good this year.
Yeah, Rose is going to have a big year. He's probably the hardest worker on the team. But like you said, our pitching is going to be good, and Cooper's back healthy. He looks really good right now in practice and stuff. And them two have the 2 starts. Not to spoil anything, but they're starting each game against Centenary. So definitely our 2 best guys and the 2 most confident that we are when they go out to take the field for us.
Yeah, well, that'll lead us into our last segment of the show. Let's go around and everybody give our picks for this upcoming week's games.
Showtime.
All right.
That's still my favorite graphic. I like that. I know you were talking about the hockey one. I like that one more.
Nico does such a
too.
good job, dude. He's such a good guy.
He does a great
love
job.
him.
That graphic's the best. The picks one, there's nothing that gets me more fired up for picks than
Sick.
that
Time for
graphic
picks.
right there. That's just
Thanks,
how I
Justin.
know it's time.
Appreciate
I think
it.
it's time for picks.
It's time for picks. Here we go. First one, we've got almost all spring sports. A lot of games that we can't predict. Obviously, we're not going to predict the men's basketball game because you're going to make you guys tune in tonight for that.
Yeah.
But we will start off here with women's lacrosse versus Oswego. 4:00 game today. Jeremy, what's your pick?
I'm going to flip my thing around. WWE Elimination Chamber this Saturday night, 7 p.m. streaming on Peacock. And also, my marker's not that great. Women's Lax gets the first win of the season today. Women's Lax. Go Utica.
I'm taking the Utica Dubsky. Obviously, I said I didn't know anything about lacrosse. I do know Coach St. Hilaire is really good at what she does. I know a couple of years, maybe 2 years ago or a year ago, she was inducted into some kind of Hall of Fame, some local Hall of Fame. I don't know exactly which one, but she's really good at what she does. So I've got faith in her to win that the season opener.
Yeah, I'm not. UT. Yeah,
You Tampa? What is UT?
Utica.
Tennessee?
That's the UT.
Rocky Top?
No,
Texas?
we're going Utica
Texas?
to win.
What?
Oswego State has nothing on
What?
Utica. We'll take them to win
What?
at home in their season opener.
Well, Oswego, they're a pretty good team. Went 10-7 last year, but they lost to Utica. It was a great game, 19-17 score. That record's not so great. That just ruined my whole mood. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm gonna get that up right now. Utica's winning. They're gonna win this game. This is a team that I think is gonna have a lot of chemistry together. A lot of these players have played all 4 years together. A lot of returning players coming to this team. Maria and Grace Stolman, both great players. So I think that the offense is just a little too much for the Lakers. They get the win. All right, now moving over, men's lacrosse, playing on the road versus SUNY Potsdam. Jeremy, what's your pick?
I'm going to go. I know some inside sources over at SUNY Potsdam.
Ooh, okay.
What does that mean?
I'm taking SUNY Potsdam.
Oh,
Maddie Rinaldi's boyfriend is on the SUNY Potsdam lacrosse team. That's about all I know about it. So I'm rolling with Potsdam.
I mean, I said the women's team, St. Hilaire, it's a good lacrosse program out here. I didn't know anything about lacrosse till I got out here. They don't have that in the Midwest. I had never seen it. But unfortunately, I'm taking Potsdam as well. I think the men's team right now, they're just kind of in a rebuilding area. They're not really a super dominant team. I think there's a really bright future for them, but I don't see it happening in the season opener.
Last year, Potsdam played Utica in Utica and won 13-3. Same story. I'm taking pots and pans, and I'm gonna sweep the lacrosse slate.
well, yeah, Potsdam, they're a pretty good team. 10-6 record last year. Defeated the Pioneers, like you said, 13-3. But this is a brand new team, new coaching staff. They're a team that
That's
Ryan
right.
Kosline's heading to his sophomore
Just trying to
year.
get too cute
Michael
again.
Mecca's playing his one of his last seasons. I think they're gonna win. Give me the Moose. The Moose. Utica men's lacrosse is gonna win their season opener. I think they have a great year this year. So I'm
Before
gonna
we go
take.
to the next pick, can I have a new marker, please? Can I use yours?
You want to use mine?
Yeah.
Okay, you can use mine.
Thank you.
But yes, I do think the men's lacrosse team's gonna have a great season. I'm gonna take them to beat Potsdam. And I'm gonna beat you all. You guys are all gonna go over me.
This is not
And I'm
gonna
gonna go 1-0.
Don't make me laugh.
My
This
record's
is
turning
you,
around.
This is us in the standings. This is you, and then you're just slowly going back.
This is not gonna
further
be good.
down.
No.
It's it's Jack and then Notar and I. Then it's 10 feet of garbage.
Okay,
And
all
then we
right,
got
all
JD
right.
down here.
What's your record? 20 and
Same
6?
as him.
20 and 6?
20 and 6.
Mike Malzahn's in there. He got the basketball game
Malzahn.
correct. He got the correct than you.
Yeah, Mike Malzahn is over me. I did pick Owen. What was I thinking? They were actually up 5 at one point.
That was
Yeah.
garbage.
I got text that they were doing well.
You did it on live. That was live too. You did that.
The only thing, the only
And you
thing
broke the
Holton won.
moose. You broke the moose's eye.
I did. Is his eye okay? Did
No,
somebody patch him up?
you
Oh, he's not
broke it.
patched up.
My
Oh.
gosh.
The only thing that Houghton did fine was get that steal in garbage time.
Yeah,
at the end of the game.
Yeah, that was
5 seconds ago, down
that was
12.
ridiculous.
Almost
Come on,
turned things
bro.
around.
All right, sticking with spring sports, the big game, biggest game on campus, Utica baseball.
It's not even-
Traveling to play Centurion University in a doubleheader. Jeremy, what's your pick?
Give me a second. I'm taking Utica BSBL. Utica baseball opens up this season with a doubleheader split. We're gonna win one and we're gonna lose one against.
I think you have to specify which one.
We're gonna win game 1 and we're gonna lose game 2.
Okay.
And here's your marker.
Thank you.
I didn't really wait for you to finish. I just heard you say Utica baseball, and I immediately wrote down not the Pioneers. I think they're going to lose the first one. I think they can take the second one, but I think it's going to be a rough season, a rough start, and then I think they'll turn it around after a little bit of motivation. So I'm going Pioneer loss and then a Pioneer win.
Send.
I'm going Cent game 1, UT game 2. I think
Texas.
my reasoning is, as I said, Cooper pitching game 1 and Rhodes pitching game 2. And I think this is going to be a very interesting game in the first game. It's our first time out. They've played, I think, 6 games already. So I think we're just going to be settling in for that first game. And then Rhodes is a competitor. I think he's going to bounce back and give us the spark that we need. And I think we're going to split. And I think, talking around the guys, I think a split is probably the most favorable scenario. Not favorable, the most likely scenario. Because they're a good team and so are we. So
Good word.
should be
Good
interesting.
job.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm taking Utica sweep. I think with Kanabe and Rhodes on the bump, I don't see how either of those pitchers lose. And I think the lineup is going to play with something, some fire underneath them. These are guys that are getting, a lot of guys getting their first starts. And I think that they're going to be guys that want to prove something to themselves, the coaches, the conference, really make a statement. I think the Pioneers are going to get a big statement win and roll on this season. All right, last game here that we've got. Unfortunately, men's hockey, we don't know who they're going to play. Can't predict any of that. But we do know who women's hockey is going to play. They're going to play Manhattanville on Saturday. Jeremy, what's your pick?
I need my pen. Actually, I don't need no pen. Give me women's hockey. Give me Utica.
Take the Moose. You already know the Pioneers. I mean, it's Manhattanville. They've beat them before. I talked about it. They lost in overtime, but that's a fluke. You talked about sometimes games that don't go your way. It's a rough loss, but take the Moose, obviously.
All right. First,
It's doubling down.
I would just like to go back and say something because JB brought up a point how if they beat Manhattanville, they might be playing Chatham in the championship. Chatham is 0-12. Chatham is worse than women's basketball at this. I'm taking Utica by 14. I'm so serious. This is not going to be close. And Utica Naz championship.
Well, this is a Valiant's team that last time around beat the Pioneers 3-1.
Fluke.
Pioneers hold the record over them on the road down in Westchester. But I don't care. This is a team that I think wants to play Nazareth, and they want it bad. So I'm going to take Utica minus 2.5. Lock it in. That's a lock right there. Minus 2.5. It's going to be a blowout. So I think I picked Utica in all my picks. So I'm going to get back on track.
Yeah, well, I mean, the only reason you're doing it is because you feel bad for this guy. This guy's one eye.
That's
And,
true. I do feel really bad to what I did to him. I'm sorry.
Who took
Are you
my
going to
marker?
throw him again today?
I can't spoil my pick, but he won't be getting thrown.
Oh,
Jeremy, did you take my marker?
I have one final prediction. John Cena wins the men's elimination chamber this weekend to headline and main event WrestleMania one more time. He's going for that 17th WWE Championship belt. Shout out John Cena.
All right, well, that'll just about do it here for us. Make sure you like and subscribe down below. We'll see you next week, and we'll see you later on at 6 o'clock for UticaTV Gameday. Make sure to tune to that. Thank you all for tuning in this week.
JV's pick suck.
All right, and always remember to fear the moose.